Welcome to the video that teaches you about quarter notes and quarter note rests. So first I'm going to start by just dropping in a couple of quarter notes in here. So that's, we'll do this. So there's a measure of 4 quarter notes. And if you remember from the last video, this number right here, these two numbers on top of each other, is the time signature. And it lets us know in this case that we can fit 4 quarter notes in one measure. So here we see 4 quarter notes fitting nice and perfectly into a measure. So a quarter note is what this looks like. It is a note head that is completely filled in, and it has a simple stem that comes off the top. Depending on where the note is relative to the horizontal lines and spaces, that tells you what pitch to play. If we get a little bit higher, you'll see the stem sort of flips around, does like you turn the note 180 degrees. And don't worry about that, it's still a quarter note. It's just is actually meant to make your life a little bit easier so that all the stems stay in the middle. Actually helps you be able to read the rhythms more easily. So there we have 4 there. Let's add 4 more to another measure. We'll do something like this, and let's do one more. Why not? And we'll put one right there and one right. No, we'll put one right there. Okay, so I just threw together 4 measures, and they feature quarter notes. And you see these squiggly things here that are like a slanted Z with a C underneath. And that's how you would draw it. I actually recommend you get a pencil out and some paper and actually try and draw it. It's kind of fun. Z with a C underneath. That is a quarter note rest. A quarter note rest is really very similar to a quarter note. It's just basically a silent version of it. So it still occupies the same amount of time. Still occupies, the exact same amount of time that a quarter note would, but you just don't play anything. So I'm going to actually play these 4 measures for you, and so you can sort of read along. I'm going to give you 4 beats for free, and then we're going to come in and try and follow along with your eyes, okay? Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, so I don't know if that was hard or not for you, but basically the key thing is that you'll notice that all of a sudden there were these spaces. It was going nice and steady, boom, space, boom, space, space, boom, boom, space. So those, you kind of have to still hear the beat nice and steady even though you're not playing anything. And the way we're going to do that, as you'll see in the next video, is by making our counting really explicit. So instead of not counting through here, when you're doing your exercises, you're going to actually count through, and we're going to talk about this more in the next video, but you're going to count through 1, 2, 3, 4, on and on and on, even if you're playing notes. And if you're not playing notes, you're still going to count that beat. I'll explain more about that in the next lesson. But basically, the key takeaway here is that quarter notes look like this. You can think about them occupying a unit of 1. I think that's a good way to think about it. It's really weird because note durations are all relative to each other. That's how they're organized. But just for the sake of simplicity, if you think about this as 1, we'll actually be able to break it down a little bit easier. So think about this as having a duration of 1, whatever that means, okay? That'll help you. Alrighty, that's quarter notes and quarter note rests.